Hey, everybody, this is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Public Library. And you know me, I usually end up using a lot of wire to do different things just because I love having the option to manipulate it any way I want. But what if you don't have wire? Or what if you just, well, let's just put it this way. I want to show you how to make a bunch of earrings with nothing but eye pins and head pins and beads. We're going back to basics. We're going to take our eye pins and we're going to take our head pins and let's just see what we can do with them. I usually am allergic to using a lot of those because I like for you to make your own things, but every once in a while I just need to go back to the beginning and and I'll show you just how to use your basic supplies and make some beautiful earrings. I have so many not ear wires. Well, I do have a lot of ear wires. I have so many eye pins and head pins that I never use. And I think it's time for me to bring them out of retirement. So we're going to use some regular standard eye pins. You can get a good look at that. Some eye pins. We're going to use some head pins. Head pins come in a couple of different forms. We've made our own head pins with a little decorative bottom on them. I'll show you how to convert some plain head pins into some more decorative head pins. But we're going to take the basic head pins and turn them into something else. We're going to do some wire wrapping with the head pins, and we're just going to let the pins and the beads speak for themselves. What you're going to need for this is some eye pins, some head pins, and some beads. And that's it. You're going to need your regular tools, your round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around. They start wider at the bottom and work up to almost a tip at the top. Then we have our flat nose pliers. These are slightly rounded and slightly square on the outside. So it can be a little confusing when somebody has not used these tools and you say, pick up your round nose pliers. And they pick these up, and that's understandable because there is a slight rounding on the outside. But on the inside, they're completely flat. So that's what helps you make your square shape and to control your round wire easier than you would if you were using round pliers to do it. If you buy these in the store, make sure that they don't have those grips on the inside. They're ridges that are supposed to help you hold your wire in place or whatever you're working with, but they can also damage your wire, so you don't want those. The last thing that we're going to be using is a pair of cutters. These are flush cutters. They're got a slight curve on the front and the back are completely flat. You can also use this kind. They got a well kind of on the inside. They've got a real dip on the one side, which I call the front, and the back is again flat. Either one of those works for what we'll be doing. And so let's get started. Let's go on down here to the mat and get a move on. Okay, let's start with the basics. We're going to take this head pin. This is a flat head pin. It's just got a flat bottom. That's like that so that your bead won't fall off when you put it on. It just sits right there at the bottom of your pin so that you can work with it. Okay, so all we need to do is put our bead on the pin. And I'm going to go ahead and put a bend in my wire because I'm going to wrap this. So I'm just going to go right here above my bead. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space up here. Put a bend in my wire. Now to the side like that. Got a little bit of space. Slide my wire down my pliers about a quarter of the way, and not even a quarter. I don't need too big a loop. I'm just going to make a small loop. I'm going to bring this wire, get this so where you can see me, see what I'm doing here. Let me switch this around to my other hand. So I'm going to bring the tail of wire over the top of my pliers and down the side until it's running along the side of my bead. Sorry. Okay, until it's running along the side of my bead. And then I'm going to bring the wire in between my pliers and the bead like this. So now I have a little loop here at the top. Just like that. I have a little space in the middle and right in here that I can use to wrap my wire around because I am going to wrap it. So now I'm just going to wrap that tail around my wire just under the loop. Second wrap is going to be under the first wrap, and then I'm going to keep going until I have all of the wraps that I want. Now that is completely wrapped. And I still have a little bit of wire left, so I'm going to go ahead and do another wrap right beside the last one, just to get a little cap, a little wire cap on top of my bead. And that's a really short stem, so I'm going to go ahead and use my pliers to guide that around. There we go. And I think that is good. I want to give it another little turn around there. Yeah, let's go with let's hold it with this hand. Switch to my other hand. Just work that around. Okay, now I'm just going to push the rest of that down against the other wraps. There we go. I just have a nice little cap on top of my bead, and I have a little bead that I can use for an earring. So now I just need an ear wire. I can also use my eye pins to make an ear wire. Yes, I can. Okay, so here is my little eye pin, another little eye pin, and I'm going to make an ear wire out of that. How, you ask, are you going to do that? Well, easy. I've already got my little loop there. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. I'm going to slide my wire all the way to the back of my pliers. Just like that. I've got a little bit of space between the loop and my pliers. That's all I need. I'm going to bring the tail of my wire over the top of my pliers and down the side until I have a large loop here. And then I'm going to use my fingers and give my wire, that tail, a little curve, a nice, graceful curve. Just like that. Then I'm going to cut that tail off because that's way too long. Unless you just like a really long ear wire. Cut that off. Oh, I didn't hold it. Went across my back here. Okay. So there's my little ear wire. And I'm going to go down here to the bottom, right here to the tip. And I'm going to give it a little tweak back like so, so that I have a little bit of a ledge there. And just adjust it the way I want it to look. There's my ear wire. Huh? So now all I have to do is open it up. I just twist this little opening until it's separated from the rest of my wire, grab my bead, slide it on, just put the closed loop inside the open loop and twist that closed again. And there is my earring. What could be easier than that? Like I said, back to basics. Yay! Nice. Okay, let's move on. The next one I'm going to do is still pretty basic. I'm going to take a nice little ear wire, not ear wire, a nice little eye pin, another eye pin, and see how these are. See how it's kind of crinkled. I want to give you a little cautionary tale. When I first started doing jewelry making, and I used a lot of eye pins and head pins, and I didn't know anything about them. And I got an order of head pins or eye pins in, and they were all bent up and squiggly. And I thought, oh, what is this? They sent me a bunch of damaged head pins, and I gave that poor guy what for? Well, little did I know. This is thin wire. And it's just a long straight piece of wire. It's gonna get bent up. All you have to do is straighten it back out. I'm trying to see if I have one that's bent. I'll just bend this one. Yeah, if they come bent, and all you have to do is straighten them back out. You can use your fingers, you can take your pliers and just, if there are any really real deep grooves in it, you can take the pliers and get them out. It's perfectly fine. Don't harass your seller, poor guy. I think he was traumatized. He gave me my money back. Then I felt bad. It was so much later when I found out that that's just how they come. And he didn't argue, which was really kind of weird. Okay, one thing I needed to tell you, when you make your own ear wires, you want to make sure that you take an emery board or a nail file and you want to round out that edge. You don't want a sharp edge of a piece of wire going in your ear. You want to make sure that you round it out with your nail file, sort of like you do your nails. You know how you run it one way up your nails to get them nice and rounded. You don't want to saw. You just want to run it one way until it's nice and round and smooth and ready to wear. Okay, let's move on to our next one. This next one, I thought we would do a dangle. So we're going to, again, start with our eye pin. We're going to slide on a bead. That's the beginning. And we're going to wrap it just like I did the first one that we just did. Let's go down here with my little pliers. I'm going to bend my wire back. This is going side to side. I'm going to bend the wire front to back. You can bend it to the front, you can bend it to the back. It doesn't make any difference. It's going to wrap the same way, one way or another, but you just want to make sure it's going in the opposite direction as the loop on the bottom. So there's my little bend. I'm going to make my loop just like I did the first one. Bring that tail over the top and down the side. Reposition my pliers so that this is the top arm has the loop in it. I want to get this this arm that doesn't have the loop in it out of my way. It's just for support. So I'm moving it out of the way, and then I'm going to bring my wire between the pliers and my bead until I have a loop. Let's check it, make sure it looks the way I want it to look. Yes, it does. And now I'm going to wrap it. Okay, and I'm just going to wrap the wire between the pliers and the bead. Nice and easy. And see how I have that big old space in between my wire on the bottom there? See that big space in there? You want to take care of that quickly. Just squeeze it out with your pliers. If you can pull it out with your fingers, but you want to make sure that you have a nice tight spiral. The wire should be wrapping around itself nice and close. Unless you just want an open spiral around there. That is a design preference. That's what you want. Go for it. More power to you. But for my purposes, I want a tighter spiral. Now see, I'm trying to push this down and it keeps shifting. So I have to hold on to the ring so that it won't move. Here we go. You just have to have some patience and get it to do what you want it to do. And sometimes that could be easier said than done. There we go. There. So there's my nice wrapped bead. And now I want to add to it. I'm going to dangle some more beads. So I'm going to dangle some beads from the oops, from the bottom. The top is wrapped, the bottom is open. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another eye pin because I'm going to dangle this little bead from this bead. So I'm going to grab another little eye pin, straighten it out, put my bead on. I'm going to put this pretty bicone crystal on there. Bend my wire, and it depends. If you want to wrap around there, you can give yourself some space to wrap. If you don't want to wrap, you don't have to wrap. I'm going to give it a little bit of a wrap just because I think it's pretty. Okay, bring my wire around between the bead and the pliers. There we go. And just know that sometimes the wire that's used for these pins is not as soft as the wire you might be using to make your usual jewelry pieces. It shouldn't be because you want it to be strong enough to hold its form when you're putting beads on it and wearing it as an earring or wearing it, using it as a connector. So sometimes the wire is a little more stiff, which is a good thing. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap that around there just a couple of times. I can grip it. Push that tail down. It's very short, so I don't think I have to. Do I want to cut it? I think I want to cut that little tiny end off. Being very careful because I don't want to hurt my crystal. Grab this thing. I always have these sitting around. Snip that down in there. You don't want that little tip to go flying across the room or in your face or anything like that. So you want to direct it down into something and control the cut. Okay, push that end down. Here we go. And I'm going to open one up. It's on the bottom here. On my opening, there we go. And I'm going to dangle this from it. Needs to be a little more open. The top is wrapped, the bottom is open. So I'm hanging it from the top, but you can also hang it from what I call the bottom if you want. So there's one dangle. I could stop there. except that I have that little loop on the bottom. And that was on purpose because I want to dangle this little bead from that one. So for that, I'm going to grab a head pin. So let me see. I showed you the flat head pin. This is a ball head pin. It's just got a little ball on the bottom. So let's check that out because sometimes these little balls are tinier than the hole in your bead. And that's no good. But let's just test it. Yes, that works. So what I'm going to do is put a bend in my wire. Again, I'm going to give myself just a tiny bit of space to wrap because this is a tiny little bead and I don't want to cover it up with too much wire. Okay. And because this one is open, I can go ahead and wrap this and then I can attach it to that by opening that loop to attach it. I don't have to worry about attaching it before I wrap. Okay, again, bringing it down the side, move that bottom arm out of the way, make my loop, check to make sure it looks the way I want, nice and centered on the top there, yes. And let's wrap it around. I always make sure that first wrap is just under the loop, as close as I can get it. And then wrap the next one down below that and keep going until I am ready to stop. I think that's good. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Let's go ahead and cut that excess off as close as I can get it. And then my trusty wheel. Okay, let's push down that little end. And again, I have to hold on to something so it doesn't spin around. Might be easier to hold on to the loop. Where is it? There it is. And push that down as close as I can get. There. Now I can open up this loop that's on the bottom here. Find the opening. Where is it? It's hiding from me. There we go. Slide that closed wrapped loop inside of the open loop. Close it up. If I can grasp it, my goodness. It's going, no, no, I don't want to go back there. Okay, there we go. It really does not want to go. There we go. There we go. And there is my nice little dangle earring. So I already showed you how to make one. Here's another one I made out of the gold. Open it up. Slide that top bead on inside of the open loop. Close that back up. File your little tip. And voila. Got another earring. Isn't that cute? I love it. So there's our second earring that we can make. Ooh, pretty. So what else can we do? Let's do a short stack. And by short stack, I mean I'm just going to put two beads on a wire. Bent, bent. Use my pliers and straighten it out. And now all I'm going to do for this one is take a small bead, got this little bead here, pretty little crystal, put that on. This other little bead, put that on. Well, big bead, put that on. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? Bend my wire. A little bit of space there for wrapping purposes. Grab my pliers. Then my wire over the top and down the side. And again, I don't need too big a loop. So I'm going right there, about 1/8 of an inch or so away from the tip. Now, all pliers are not the same size. So you need to determine how big you want your loop to be. Mine does not need to be very big, but you need to decide how far down your pliers you need to go to get the size loop that you want. So there's my little loop. And let's go ahead and wrap it right under the first, right under the bottom of my loop at first. And this is a big bead, so I'm going to have to really maneuver. And this is a short stem, so I'm going to use my pliers to wrap that tail around the stem. And there we go. Just need to get the rest of that down there. And again, just have some patience. Hold on to my bead, push the rest of that down. I could cut it off if I wanted to, but it's not that much. So I think I'm just gonna let it rest against the rest of the wires. Oh, and one thing you need to be cautious of is when you're squeezing, the wire is going away from the bead because there's something in its way. And that's just the norm would be to get out of the way of whatever it is blocking it. So you're going to have to direct it down. The best way to do that is to aim your pliers down away from the top of your loop. And that will help direct it the way you want it to go. It's not a perfect way to do it, but it makes it a little bit easier than just squeezing and hoping for the best. See how it wants to go up. And I just have to keep directing it down the way I want it to go. Patience, patience. Gotta have it. Here we go. And again, I have another ear wire made. So, what do you know? I don't have to make another one. There we go. Let's go ahead and pop that on there and see what it looks like. And it is. Ooh, that's pretty. See how easy that is? I mean, I'm going to push this down a little more. It's popping up. It's just all you're using is ear wires. So simple. And this is a good place to start. It certainly is where I started. I didn't start by making everything. People in my classes are going to go, well, then why do you make us do it? I want you to have options. Oh, that's pretty. All right. What do I want to do now? I think what I'm going to show you is how to manipulate these pins a little bit. Let's see. let's see. So let's take this eye pin and this bead. And what if you're looking at it and you're going, oh, well, I don't want to dangle anything, but all I have is this eye pin. Now what? I don't want that loop on the bottom, really. It just looks like a loop. It looks unfinished, like there's something that else that needs to be there. Okay, well, let's just turn this little eye pin into an infinity pin. So what I'm going to do is slide my pliers right here beside the other loop, this loop that's here. Slide that on, and I'm going to wrap my wire around and down beside that first loop. So I'm just going to bring that up and around my pliers. Take that out, go back in, bring it around the rest of the way until I have an infinity wrap. Ah, that's it. Just convert it. Now I can pop my bead on. And isn't that cute? Ah, now all you need to do is wrap it. Once you get your bead settled the way you want it to be, then the next thing that follows is the same thing we've been doing over and over again. Okay, yes, that looks good. Pull that a little tighter. And let's wrap that. Wrap it around. And you can wrap it as many or as few times as you like, or until you run out of head pin wire. Yeah. Down there, near the bead, snip off that excess as close as I can get. Boom. And push down that little end. And there it is. There it is. I'm going to use this little guy to show you what it looks like on an ear wire. Do I want to make another ear wire? Do I have another ear wire? I don't. So I'm just going to take this one off and put it on so that you see what it looks like. Oh, not open. No, open. Open, open, open. And there we go. Isn't that cute? Nice. How many is that? 4 pair? Let's do one more, I think. What was I gonna do over here? Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you something fun. Another conversion. This off of here. Another converted pin. Use a paper bead this time. I've got my ear wire all made. I'm gonna make a little dangle with these 2 little beads. But what I'm gonna do is take one of my little ball pens, straighten, straighten, straighten. And one of the good things about this is the more that you manipulate this, the stronger your wire gets. So if I'm warming it up like this, if you pound it a little bit, if you're warming it every time you work with it, it makes the wire stronger. Okay, so there we go. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I think I'm going to do is wrap this. Should have just left it wrapped because you've already seen me do that. But I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to put it on an eye pen. Eye pen, eye pen, eye pen, gold or silver. I've already done 2 golds and 2 silvers. Yeah, speed without eye pen. Okay.
Hi there. It's currently 3:46 p.m.
Now you know what time it is. My clock is telling me to get a move on. I could do this all day, but you would be bored. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is, no, I'm not going to put it on an eye pen. I'm going to take this little guy and I'm going to make a hook on the bottom. So I've got my little ball. It's a really tiny little ball. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, there's my little ball. Okay, there we go. And what I'm going to do is take my round nose pliers and I'm going to put a little hook in here. So I'm just going to, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. So I'm just going to slide my little pin down about 1/8 of an inch from the tip. Not much, just 1/8 of an inch from the tip of my pliers. I have a little fingernail bit of space between the ball and my pliers, but that's all. And I'm just going to turn this until I have a little hook. Not quite a loop, just a little hook. And then I'm going to bend my wire until it's straight out. So this is just a little hook that I have here. There. So now what I'm going to do is use that as a receptacle for my beads. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and put my little bead on a head pin, slide that on, not a head pin, an eye pin, one with the little, eye pins are the ones with the little loop in it. So I'm going to go ahead and bend my wire back and wrap it like I've been doing a bazillion times. Make my little loop, wrap it. As many times as you want. Just a little wide there. I want it a little tighter. Squeeze that in. Keep wrapping until I have no more pin to wrap. Okay. Got that wrapped, got a little cap on top here. Cute. That works. Yeah. And now I'm going to make another little bead and I'm going to put, do I want a little ball in there or do I want a flat one? I'll go ahead and stick with my little balls, my little ball pins. Let's grab another one of these guys. Slide it on. Where's the hole? This is just a little chip that I found lying around. I said, well, Let's just use it. Here we go. And I'm going to wrap it, just like I've been doing all along. Here we go. And just wrap that around and give it a nice little cap on there. Since I have enough wire to do it, and this is a nice flat top, and it will look pretty. Ooh, isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, let's cut off the excess. Where are my cutters? There they are. Put that off. And push that little tip down against the other wraps. I don't have any little sticky bits because I do not need that little thing swinging against my ear and poking me every time it comes in anywhere near my skin. There we go. All right, so I'm going to attach the bottom dangle to my main bead. Slide that on a little more. Open it a little more, Virginia. And close it. Nicely closed. And now I'm just going to take my little loop and slide it on my little hook, like so. Isn't that neat? And then I need another little bead. Let's see, what can I put on there? That's a good question. Just something small. Boom. Slide that on. Oh, yes. And wrap it. Here we go. We'll move that just a little smaller. Put that back in and just pull the excess space out. A little smaller. Might need to use my pliers. Boom. There we go. And wrap that around. As many or as few times as you want. Give yourself at least one full time around. 1.5 is good. Mostly because it just, well, you want it secure. Plus, it looks better if you have at least 1.5 wraps around there. I think that's just me. Okay, let's cut out that excess wire, that little tip that I don't need. And push down the end. And there we go. What's neat about this one is I have this little hook that I can take this off and put another one on if I want it. If I want to change it out, I have an interchangeable my little ear wire with a bead on it. Got a little turquoise bead on there. I can change it to another color bead if I want to dangle from it. I love options. Love, love, love. And there we have it. Isn't that neat? See my little hook down there? Love it. That's 5. I should stop. I should stop. But I really kind of want to show you one more thing. I hope this doesn't run over an hour. Oh gosh, I wanted to show you 2 more things. Oh, 3 actually, but we'll give you this one. Okay, so again, I have an eye pin. I don't have any head pins. What am I going to do? I don't want that thing sticking out on the bottom. What do I want to do now? Okay, I'm going to do another conversion. So the first thing I'm going to do is loosen up this little lid. Gonna open it up just a little bit. Then I'm gonna get this little crease out, this little bend. I'm gonna straighten that out with my pliers. Just straighten it out. And then I'm gonna go back in with my pliers and I'm gonna wrap that loop closed again. So I've got a little loop and I'm gonna keep going until I have a little spiral. So I've got it partially started. I'm going to switch to my square pliers, hold on to the side of it, and I'm going to turn just a few more times until I have a little spiral. One more little bend here. So now I have a little spiral. I don't have that loop down at the bottom. Nothing wrong with the loop if you don't mind the loop, but I didn't want that. So now what I'm going to do is straighten this wire out until it's running straight up instead of on the side of my spiral. I want it to be straight up the center. Like so. So now there's my new and improved head pin. Give that a little bit more. Yeah. Now, I have some pretty paper beads. Let's put them on and see what it looks like. Can I get them both on here? I don't know. The joy of paper. Well, it doesn't matter. Oh, there we go. All right. So, ooh, that is pretty. But I don't have enough to wrap the top, but that's okay. We'll just make it a simple loop at the top instead of a wrapped loop. So I'm going to bend my wire just like so, grab my round pliers, and I am going to put a simple unwrapped loop at the top. So I'm just going to wrap that until it closes. There we have it. Bend that back a little bit so it's a little more centered on top of my bead. There. Let's grab one of these pins. And see what it looks like. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. I should stop. We've done six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I more that I want to show you just one more little thing. Yeah, I want to show you one more little thing, and then I will let you go and I will stop by. So I'm going to take one of these little ball pens. And I'm absolutely starting to love. Starting that out. Not like I'm not going to mangle it up in a minute. And I'm going to take my straight eye pens. I'm almost finished. Okay, you take a nice straight eye pen. And I'm going to take this little ball pen. I mean, what if you want to just do something different? I want a long earring, but I just want to do something different. What can I do? So I'm going to take this little ball pen and right here at the bottom, just above my loop, give myself a little bit of the ball pen to hold on to. So I'm just going to cross it right under my eye pin, and I'm going to wrap that around. Give it a nice tight wrap. The rest of it, I can keep holding on to that. Before I go any further, I'm not going to wrap this down yet, but I want to do something fun. So I'm going to grab some little tiny seed beads. I'm going to pop one of those little seed beads on. And continue to wrap the wire around. Pop another one on. If I can find the hole. There we go. Continue my little wrap. Get another one. And wrap again. I think I can manage one more. Oops. Get on there. And wrap that around. It's going, no, let me off of here. Okay. I have that tiny little end. I'm going to wrap that around the rest of the way around my pin. And you notice I'm using one of them is silver and one of them is gold. I did that on purpose. I just wanted something different. I'm going to wrap that as tightly around there as I can get. Nice and snug. Arrange these the way I want them. And tighten it up a little bit if I need to. And now I'm going to finish by wrapping my little ball around the bottom. And that does not need to be completely flush against the pin. It can stick out a little bit. There we go. So now I have a somewhat decorated pin. Now what am I going to do with it? That's a good question. I know. I'm going to pop another one of these on top of there. Let's grab another couple of those. I've got plenty of. I'm going to put a couple more on top. Get this bag out. How many more do I want on? 1, 2, 3. 3 is always a good number. Okay. I want 3. Well, I think I'm just going to put 1 on. And I'm going to wrap this closed. It's right above my little bead. Give it a little wrap. Okay. And cut that off. Nice long tail. I could hold it without having to put it down in my little tube. I want to be very careful because this little glass bead, you don't want to crush it or break it. I'm putting my thumb up there because I want to make sure I don't crush my bead. There. Okay, make some adjustments. Make sure it looks the way I want it to look. Stitch that little ball up a little bit. There we go. Now what? Let's dangle something. So I'm going to open up my little loop, slide on a little charm, close up my loop. Oops, backwards. There we go. Close my loop up. Grab an ear wire. I only have 1 silver ear wire. What is that? It can be better. Where? Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, don't tell me other wires in silver. So I'm going to make one. So here we are again. I have a head pin. I need an ear wire. So what I'm going to do is cut the flat bottom off. Cut it off. Make a loop. Straighten my loop out. Actually, you don't need to straighten your loop out for an ear wire. Just make my little loop. Grab my round pliers. Slide that loop all the way back to the back of my pliers. Here's the front of it, or where the little tip is, over here. And I'm going to wrap the wire away from the tip and around like so. Then I'm going to shape it. Let's roll that down just a smidge. It's kind of the same way that you do a hook or a clasp. cut off the excess. Put a little ledge in at the bottom here, right here at the tip. Boom. There we go. That's a little shallow, so I'm going to roll it down just a little bit. Oops. Round, Virginia, round. There we go. All right, I'm done. Open that up. Pop my earring on. Close it back up. And there we go. Isn't that neat? Just something a little different. So what have we got here? Around the right way. That one. We've got that one. It doesn't have an ear wire on it. That's okay. We've got this one. I guess I should turn them the right way. There we go. Yes. Yes, sirree. Lots and lots. Lots for me. I love earrings. We have lots of them today. Look at that. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone out in the audience, that is what you can do when you go back to basics with eye pins and head pins and nothing else. What is this? About an hour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you make them in a pair, you could probably get this done in an hour and a half. All of these, less than 10, about 10 minutes. 10 minutes a pair. Awesome. Takes me longer because I'm having to show you how to do it. But anyway, there it is. We went back to basics. We came out with a whole bunch of earrings. I hope that, because I enjoyed making every single one of these pairs of earrings. These earrings. And I will have to make the other one because there is no way I am not wearing each of these. These are awesome and so much fun to make. I hope you will do the same. And I hope you will show me pictures. Those of you who get kids, you're going to have a multitude of beads, a bunch of, what's that? A bunch of a bunch of eye pins and head pins, and endless opportunities. And I hope you'll take advantage of it. And please, 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 I'm always begging, please show me what you make. I get so big a thrill out of watching you create things because I don't have the instant gratification of my classroom, and I would love to see what you make. So please make me happy. Get in touch with me at jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can leave comments and pictures at the DeKalb County Library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's spelled DeKalb Library. You can also leave comments at the library YouTube page. That's youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. You have to put the whole thing because there's another DeKalb library in Illinois, and we are not them. So it's youtube.com/DeKalb COUNTY PUBLIC LIBRARY. So get in touch with me. Go to the YouTube page. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, a thumbs down if you didn't. Let me know what you thought one way or the other, because I really, really, really would like to know. And tell me where you're from. I get a lot of people from other countries, which is so thrilling for me. Other cities, other states, other countries. I really would like to know. I don't need your address. Just your general geographic location would make me very happy. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll have a great week, a wonderful weekend. And I hope this isn't too long, but I hope it was enough content to make you happy. See you next time. Bye bye.